said to me, that's what we start to believe. That was something aloof here. So yes, you get things, and you know, working with the police, and I have to tell everybody who are mediums out there or doing my work, you don't solve any case at all. You don't solve it. The police does. That's why they are the police. What you can do, like what we have done, Paul, is point the finger. You're going in the wrong direction. Okay, try that direction. Try to understand what's happening there. You can point fingers and you can help the police. But come on, it's the police that do the investigation. A medium don't do that. And I think that sometimes in Denmark, when I think they were down in Korsør, which is part of Denmark, where this young lady had vanished, and everybody, was it Ming her name was, or whatever her name was, everybody, I have never seen so many mediums that came through, and psychics and everything else, and pointed out where she were. And of course she went nowhere. But it was hours and hours and hours of police investigation. They have gone out there, tried to look for her, for the places in which they were told her were, and how much money wasn't actually spent, if you think about it, by the police. For mediums, just saying that's where they are. But it's like the police have told me, when they have somebody saying, do you know where the body is, do you have to go and investigate it? So we have to be careful. And I think that you have seen the way that I work and how careful I am. I never say something that, you know, that's going to destroy a family or it's going to upset people. I'm very cautious with things. Though also that's why when you see me on the platform, that means working in the churches or in halls, I often have a tremendous sense of humor, because I just want to lift people I want to lift people, you know, just because you've gone over to the other side of life, it doesn't mean out of mind, out of sight. They are still here and can tell the most funniest of stories. And I think that that is what people forget, that even spirit has got a great sense of humor. And I have often talked to, you know, there was one chap in America, he's now passed over, Danny himself. He was a doctor within the army and the Gulf War and things like that. And I suddenly sat with him in London. I looked at him and I said, I have no idea, Danny. I said, why I'm getting this for you, but your father is laughing his head off. So, you know, Danny said to me, he said, what do you mean, Marion? I said, he keeps on talking about Scottish underpants. I think they're checked coloured. And this kind of frightfully sort of American sort of guy sat up and thinking, why is he saying that? I said, well, what am I supposed to know? But he keeps on laughing about it. And then it came out that Danny, the guy, always had Scottish underpants sent from Scotland, checked colours. And why would my father tell me that? And I said, how am I supposed to know? I said, he just said it's one way to make you believe, Danny, that there is something else on the other side of life, and he's still there. And I remember him sitting and scratching his head upon that. So yeah, I know that sometimes you come out with the most ridiculous things, spirit. Sometimes it takes a while before we find it, as you have seen and done yourself, which we have also done in some of the television programs that you have done. And again, I have to say, if anybody wants to work on television or make a documentary, for me, it is so important that you have a relationship with one of them who's going to film you, producer in which they were. Not that you would tell me anything about the cases, because that's no purpose in that at all. But knowing that if I was in difficulties, I could turn around and say, help, Paul, or am I right, Paul, and whatever. You were my security net. You were my friend who understood who I was, my sense of humor, and my Danish, because sometimes it came out with bloody thing I shouldn't have said. It just flew out of my mouth. I still do that many times, but having you in the background and knowing you helped me to become a better medium over the many programs in which we have worked on, and also whatever comes in the future. But it has been wonderful to actually work with you, Paul. You have to know that, you know, that this is what
I remember this connection you have between not only the producers I was, but also the cameraman and the whole crew is very important. And there was a certain time when we did Return of the Spirits.
Oh yeah.
When there was a cameraman who thought it was hocus pocus, everything you did. And he was making fun of it. And even when we were doing the takes, he was making fun of it. And you said, I can't work with this guy because he's spoiling the vibration. He scares the spirits away because he don't believe it, and he's angry. And actually, we got him sacked. He was taken off the program, and he wasn't sacked, but he was taken off the program, and we got another cameraman, and it worked much better.
Yeah. And that is what we as medium always say, that condition has to be right. You can't go in blind and then suddenly start to work. There has to be a condition that is set, even if it is about the cameraman or the person who sits with a microphone, or you as a producer, the medium, the people you work with. It is a team of people. And it always works better when you have somebody who just has respect for it. You don't have to believe, but for Christ's sake, have respect for it. You get a lot further with the people in anything you work. If you go in and make a major film to millions and millions of kroners, pounds, dollars, or whatever, you have to believe in the actress and actors that you play with or you film. You have to believe what it is they're doing is good. How else can a film come out to be, to be good? There has to be that kind of connection. And that is, I think that's what I have enjoyed when I work with you, that we have been able to build that up, because there has also been a program, and I remember you were not the producer on this program, but we have to go and film somewhere it's one of the old, it's not a castle, but it was somewhere in Denmark. It was towards, I think, Helsingør, which is one of the smaller, there was a castle there. And I went in there and I couldn't feel anything. There was nothing there. I walked around endlessly. Oh yes, because the people have said that this happened and this happened and that happened and this happened. And so what I did do, I said, right. So I said, who said that it has happened? He said, oh, the man sitting in the office up there, because now it was a conference place. So I went up there and I sat with him and I said, would you like to tell me what you have seen here? And he said, nothing. And I said, what do you mean, nothing? He said, well, people just feel there's somebody here, but nobody has seen anything. And I remember spending 3 hours there and could say nothing. The camera crew couldn't film me, but the producer, which was a woman, she flew at me. She went angry. She attacked me verbally. She shouted at me. And you know what she said? Why don't you just fucking make some stories up so we can...
Yeah.
And I went, what? And I remember coming out of her car almost in tears, and had to have a friend of mine called Hanne Helmke, who was helping me to get me in. I was in shock. I was literally in such a shock, because that I did work, if you like, my way, and I didn't see anything. I didn't feel it. So why should I make a story up just to please the public? That was absolutely hair-raising. I can't even remember which blooming program it was, but it was dreadful. It was really
I remember we did another program. I don't remember what it was, but we had two participants that were going to see what was going on, and there was, I don't know if it was the same lady, but they were sitting in a basement, and they were singing. And you said, yes, keep on singing, keep on singing. And then she said into my ear, so, he said, make Marion, get Marion to stop that singing. I can't use it in my program. And I said, you can cut it out, because it lifts the spirits, and there might come something different out of it. I don't fucking care. I don't want it. Stop. And then I ignored her, and there did come something out of it. But she was the same person. She was the head of production, and she was unfortunately with us that day, and she spoiled the whole program, because she didn't go with the flow.
No, that's it. And I am just very shocked that people, and I don't understand this, why do you take on a program, Paul, if you don't believe in what you're doing? I mean, hello, why do you do that? Is it because you need the money? Or is it because you've got to have it to have your name up in the screen that you have done this program, you don't bloody believe in it? I mean, I have seen that too. When one of the producers we actually drove home with, I don't know if you remember that, we was going 150 miles an hour down the bloody motorway.
Mm.
You know, it was frightening. She was so angry. She was, boom, she drove. She had no care about who was in her car and how we got home. I mean, I was in absolutely shock to see people like that. People who was filming, that was producers, that was so forth, having this kind of attitude. I don't believe in this. And excuse me, they often said this shit. And yet again, they are producers of a program to people in Denmark to be able to see, and having that attitude, it never works. It will not work on any circumstances. I think, Paul, also that is why, as you know, I don't know how many other people who know, but I have said no to many programs. I will not do them. I said, no, I will have no part in this. I said, if I've got to work, I have to work with Paul. I don't want to work with anybody else. I actually stimulated who I wanted to work with. And he could never understand that. But I said, no, I don't want to do it. And I got flagged down many of times because I didn't want the program. I remember there was one program, and that was when I was staying with you in Copenhagen. Yes, 10 minutes in Denmark. And I remember being with you and Liget. And we was going to go to a television studio in Denmark because they wanted to interview me upon my work. And that night, I had a visit from Spirit. And when I woke up in the morning, I looked at Lotte and saying, Lotte, we are not going there. She said, why not? I said, because it is a skeptical panel that's there. I said, there is somebody there, there is a magician, there's somebody there that's from Skeptica. This program is to trip me up or anybody up within spiritualism or anything else like this. I have been told by Spirit, do not go like this. And actually we had said yes to the program, but when I remember Lotte phoned up and said, Marion refused to do this because of what she has been told. And then Lotte told what has happened, and he went, how in the heck did she know that? How did she know that? And I was right, Spirit was right, Lotte was right, we didn't go. No, so yes, do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah, and I went, forget it. And we didn't go, that was it. So, Paul, what are you up to now? Would you like to make more programs like this? Would you like
I would love to do more programs with you. But the problem is that every time I propose a program, people say no, no, no. And some years ago, I proposed two programs with a very exciting person. And I wanted, the one was one, what was one you would like to do was to go travel around the Nordic countries to research on the older spiritual traditions here. And the person I wanted to go to participate was Arnedal. He was, at that time, he was director of the National Museum in Oslo. And I said, why don't we do that? And I went to several production companies, and they said, nobody knows Arnedal, so we can't do anything with him. Then he became a little more known, and then I had another one, which was called, well, I call it the black holes in the Danish history, because when you have history anywhere, there's always something that the historians are missing, and then we could use your skills to try to find out what happened here. Who murdered the king in Finrobladet? What happened when the oil fields in North Sea was sold? And from a lot of things. But and I would do that with Arnedal still as well, and he wanted to do it, but they said no. Then we have to have this and that, and have to twist it, and we have to have a question of well, they always wanted to put something extra into it to make it entertainment, as if they couldn't see it. It was entertaining in itself.
Absolutely.
So until now, I've given up.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I understand fully that, because today we have all these ghost stories, ghostbustering, ghost everything here. We have, I don't know what it is we have, and no one ever take this up seriously. Why don't we sit back and find out? Hello, we had some really good mediums in Denmark. Just give you an example. Did Anne Melone Rasmussen, did she actually do some kind of cheating under her investigation with filming it? Where the heck is the film? Why do we only see 30 seconds of that film? You must have filmed for 2 hours. Where's the rest of the film? People talk about Sven Turk. He made the film. He actually did a document about levitation. I have been asking for that for the last 15 years. Where is the film? Because I happened to meet somebody who sat with him under the filming and saw it all. He told me that the film exists. I have the title and everything else. Nobody has to look for it. These will be interesting to find out, because what you will see and experience. But you do need somebody who understands all this, the cheating, why they did it, what's the history behind it. But no, we rather like to go around doing ghostbusting. We rather like to go and be frightened.
Yeah.
That's really what we really want. That is also why I have to say so many horror films are some of the best movies ever sold, because of what people like to do is be scared. And that is where they're trying to put us into the categories of being scared, doesn't want to know. We have a wonderful philosophy, Paul. We have seen a lot of things, set some kind of things that we might do a bit of testing with it or whatever. There's many things that can be done. What about all these people, Paul? The thousands and thousands of people in Denmark and around the world who has had out-of-body experiences. What a film that could be, just by going around talking to them about their experiences. What have they seen? Do you understand it? Just people, normal people from a farm, from down the street, or somebody. What is it you have seen? What is it you have experienced in this out-of-body experience? What is it you actually have seen within your home? What happened? And then do some research with it.
The problem is that most of the people who are in the television and film business, they don't believe in things like that, and many of them don't. And the biggest problem, they don't see a market.
No.
But what they don't know is that there are millions of people who are interested in it.
Absolutely.
They just don't know them. They go in their own circles, and they don't know these other circles.
Absolutely, here. I mean, you just have to look and see how successful many of the television program has been in England and America and Australia. The mediums who's been on and shown clairvoyant, it's been sold for millions. Do you see what I mean? We need to have somebody in Denmark who dare stand up and saying, hang on a minute, I believe in spirit. The whole thing is, Paul, how many people do you not think that I see from Denmark I have never spoken about, or in England I have never even given words who they are? There's many rich people. There's people from all walks of life in Denmark. There's my clients, and has been my clients for years. The one thing Marion don't do is talk about my clients.
Yeah, right.
They are afraid. I remember just before we leave this year, going into a restaurant in London, and I have just had one of the top actors in England for sitting here. And I walk into a restaurant, and she sits there, and she looks at me and smiles, and I smiles and walks off.
Yeah.
And then she phones me up the next day, and she says to me, I don't understand. Have I done something wrong, Marion? Yeah. I mean, I smiled at you, she said. I wanted to say hello to you. And I turned around and I said, yeah, but I didn't want to let your friends know that you had went to see a medium. That is your private business. And she said, I never thought of that, Marion, but thank you. So you see, she could have fallen if she had believed. Do you understand it? Because it is okay to be a Buddhist, or do it like that, or Hindist maybe. Jewish, you're all right because it's a major religion. Christian, that's a large religion. Roman Catholic, that's fantastic. But being something outside the box, it still is a dangerous thought for many.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Really a dangerous thought. And I have a priest who believes in this one. I would love to film them too. Why do you believe in this? Thank you, Paul, for
Thank you. I thank you.
It's going back memory lanes, isn't it? For the many. And I think, Paul, people have only got a little insight to what we have done. And
there's a lot of funny stories we didn't get into.
Isn't it just? Just loads of them. But that's part of maybe another time, Paul. But I just want to thank you for all my being with me. And I am actually looking forward to also talking to your wife, Lotte Keeler.
Yeah.
My books and things like that. We have the good relationship together and many funny stories too. Some of them we cannot repeat here. Please, we cannot. So there you go. It all has to be the laxative. It has to be the goatee. And now everybody can think, what's that all about? Yes. So there you go.
Right. It has been a pleasure to be with you again.
Thank you, darling. And it's lovely to see you sitting out in Tisvilde, where you're living, and me in central London. So
come up here when all this corona baloney is over.
I promise I will come up with Liget. She says she will take me up to you, so that's fine.
I'll have a gin and tonic for you.
See what I mean?
And maybe 6 flasker Persille sauce.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you, Paul, very much indeed. Annette?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Marion. It is, as always, it's been a pleasure again to listen to all your stories and all your knowledge about the spirit world and your friendship with Paul. I believe that you can talk for hours and hours and hours, and it's very interesting to listen to. The lady you talked about was stabbed about over 80 times, and it's called enkemord. In English, it's the widow murder. It's very interesting. So look it up. I know it's on YouTube somewhere. Paul, thank you very much today to you too. And we are looking forward to welcome Charlotte Keeler, your wife. And next time, or the other recording, will be Liget. You know her from another series that you did with her. And later on, we also have Gudrun Botved, the Viking Völve is coming up too. So everybody, have a nice day, and I hope to see you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.